There's a phenomenon one talks about in the personal transformation journey. It's the most terrifying yet most powerful moment you can experience. Here's how it happens. You've been following the science, doing the meditations, keeping your frequency high. Synchronicities were appearing everywhere, repeating numbers, perfect messages, impossible encounters. You felt like the universe was literally having a conversation with you. And then, without warning, total silence. The numbers stop. The messages cease. The encounters vanish. It's as if someone switched off the cosmic radio. Panic starts rising in your throat because you think you've lost everything, that you're back to square one, that all your progress was an illusion. But what if I told you this silence isn't abandonment? What if I revealed it's the clearest sign that you're seconds away from experiencing the change you've been asking for? If you're living through this right now, if you recognize this description and your heart started racing, subscribe to this channel immediately and turn on notifications. What I'm about to reveal about this quantum silence phenomenon could be the key that unlocks the dimensional leap you've been preparing for months. Let's start with a truth that will change your perception forever. The universe isn't a helicopter parent that needs to validate your every step. When synchronicities stop, it's not because you failed the test. It's because you're about to graduate. Think about how we learn to ride a bike. At first, someone holds the seat, runs alongside you, shouts instructions. But there comes a moment when, without warning, the hand lets go. You might wobble, you might panic, but it's in that exact moment you discover you already know how to pedal on your own. Synchronicities are the training wheels of manifestation. They're necessary at the beginning to build your confidence, to prove that yes, you're connected to the field, that yes, the universe responds. But if you needed them forever, you'd never develop true mastery. You'd be eternally dependent on external validation, an addict to divine signs, needing the next hit to keep believing. There's profound science behind this. In quantum physics, and let me be clear, we're using this as a powerful metaphor, not a literal explanation. There's a phenomenon called superposition. It's when a particle exists in multiple states simultaneously until observed. When your synchronicities stop, you're in existential superposition. Your old reality hasn't completely died yet. Your new one hasn't fully been born. You're floating between worlds. This liminal state is uncomfortable because our brain hates uncertainty. It was programmed for survival, to identify patterns, to predict the future based on the past. When familiar patterns disappear, even the positive patterns of synchronicities, brain sounds all alarms. That's why silence feels like abandonment when it's actually preparation. I'm going to share something I've learned from observing thousands of people go through this process. Silence always, and I mean always, precedes the biggest leaps. It's like the moment before dawn's darkest hour. If you judged only by the darkness, you'd swear the sun had died. But maximum darkness is the guarantee that light is about to break through. Now, you might be thinking, but I need the science. How will I know if I'm on the right path? And it's exactly that question that reveals why the silence is necessary. As long as you need external confirmation, you don't truly trust the process. It's like checking GPS every 5 seconds instead of just driving. The universe is teaching you to navigate by your internal GPS. This internal GPS isn't mystical or esoteric. It's your internal coherence. The alignment between your heart and brain that the HeartMath Institute has been studying for decades. When you achieve true coherence, you don't need external signs because you become the sign. You stop seeking confirmation and start radiating certainty. And it's this shift from receiver to transmitter that marks the real transition. What happens in your brain during this silence is both fascinating and terrifying. Your subconscious, which controls 95% of your behavior according to Bruce Lipton's research, goes into emergency mode. It's used to the old patterns, even the patterns of receiving synchronicities. When these patterns are interrupted, it desperately tries to restore them. This is where most people sabotage everything. They start forcing, obsessively looking for signs, questioning everything they've learned. Every time you do this, you're telling the field, I don't trust the process, and the field, which is a perfect mirror of your consciousness, reflects that distrust back, prolonging the silence. But there's another path. Instead of fighting the silence, you can use it as a portal. David Bohm, the quantum physicist, spoke about the implicate or dearth hidden reality behind appearances. Silence is when you have direct access to this implicate order, without interference from the explicate world, without the noise of superficial manifestations. In this space of silence, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your emotions intensify. One day you wake up feeling like you can conquer the world. The next you're in deep despair. This emotional roller coaster isn't a system failure, it's the system working perfectly. Your energy field is accelerating, preparing to synchronize with a completely new frequency. Joe Dispenza documents this phenomenon extensively. When you're about to break an old pattern, your body hitch has become addicted to familiar emotional chemical spikes, like an addict in withdrawal. That sudden anxiety, it's your body begging for its familiar dose of cortisol. That sadness out of nowhere, it's your system trying to recreate the chemical patterns it knows. Simultaneously, your future self is pulling you forward, injecting moments of ecstasy, visions of what's possible, surges of creative energy. You're being stretched between two versions of yourself, and the tension is almost unbearable, but this tension is what creates the leap. Without it, you just slide smoothly from one reality to another, and smooth slides rarely create real transformation. I want you to understand something crucial. Emotional intensity is proportional to the size of the leap. Small changes generate small turbulence. Massive transformations generate emotional storms that can leave you questioning your sanity. If you're going through this, it's not a sign that something's wrong. It's confirmation that something very big is about to be born. Neuroscience shows us that during these transition periods, your brain is literally rewiring itself. New neural connections are being formed while old ones are pruned. It's a physical process, not just energetic. You're performing brain surgery without anesthesia, conscious during the entire procedure. No wonder it hurts. The mistake most people make is trying to anesthetize this pain with distractions, with substances, with returning to old patterns. But pain is the price of real transformation. It's what separates those who talk about change from those who actually change. If you can surf these emotional waves without drowning in them, you emerge on the other side as a fundamentally different person. There's a powerful technique for navigating this turbulence. Instead of resisting emotions or collapsing into them, become the observer. When doubt arises, say, interesting, my old system is fighting for survival. When fear appears, acknowledge, my reptilian brain is trying to protect me from the unknown. This small shift in perspective transforms you from victim of emotions to scientist studying your own transformation process. Now let's talk about what almost everyone misinterprets, the final test. You know when it seems like the universe decided to throw every possible challenge at you at once. Unexpected bill, fight with someone important, opportunity that crumbles, everything happening simultaneously when you are so close to change. Most people see this as cosmic punishment or proof they're not worthy, but it's not a test, it's a mirror. Your subconscious is projecting the last vestiges of your old pattern onto external reality. It's like when you clean a dusty closet just before it gets clean. All the dust rises, and the air becomes unbreathable. The challenges that appear as psychic dust rising to be released permanently. Neville Goddard understood this deeply. He talked about persisting in the assumption, even when all external evidence screams the opposite. Because in this critical moment, you have a choice: react from your old self or respond from your future self. Every challenge is a disguised question. Who do you choose to be now? If you react with the same old patterns, fear, anger, victimization, you restart the cycle. But if you can maintain your future self's frequency, even in the midst of chaos, something magical happens. The old pattern, without your energy feeding it, simply dissolves. Not with drama, not with struggle, just dissolves. I'll be brutally honest here. This is when 90% of people give up. They were inches from the finish line, but the final test convinces them nothing was working. It's tragic, because if they knew this chaos is actually confirmation of proximity, not evidence of failure, they'd persist a little longer and experience the breakthrough. There's an unmistakable energetic signature when you successfully pass the final test. It's a calm that comes from nowhere, deep and unshakable. It's not the calm of resignation or exhaustion. It's the calm of certainty, as if every cell in your body knows the change has already happened, even if the external world hasn't reorganized to reflect it yet. Your nervous system shifts from sympathetic mode fight or flight to parasympathetic rest and regeneration. Your heart rate stabilizes, your breathing naturally deepens, your electromagnetic field expands. The HeartMath Institute has measured this scientifically, and you achieve real coherence. Your magnetic field can extend up to 3 meters around you, literally influencing the environment. But here's the secret few understand. This calm needs to be cultivated, not just experienced. It's easy to feel calm when the storm has passed. The challenge is to maintain this calm is your new baseline, regardless of external circumstances. It's the difference between visiting a place and moving there permanently. How do you do this? First, recognize that you have access to multiple states of consciousness throughout the day. The state you visit most frequently becomes your vibrational address. If you spend 80% of your time in anxiety and 20% in peace, guess which reality you're creating? The universe doesn't respond to your peak moments. It responds to your vibrational average. Second, create non-negotiable anchoring rituals. Every morning, before checking your phone, before entering the world, spend at least 15 minutes consciously inhabiting your future self state. Feel how that version of you feels. This isn't superficial visualization, it's deep cellular occupation of the desired state. Your body doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and the real one. At night, before sleep, do the same. These are the moments when your subconscious is most receptive, when brainwaves naturally slow to theta, the reprogramming state. Use these temporal portals wisely. Each session is a deposit in your new reality's bank account. Let's be practical now about navigating the silence of synchronicities. First, you need to understand there are 3 distinct phases in this process, and each requires a different strategy. Phase 1, the initial shock. When synchronicities stop for the first time, your instinct will be to panic. Don't. This is the moment to celebrate. You've graduated from spiritual kindergarten. The universe is saying, you're ready for the next level. Instead of desperately seeking signs, double down on your internal practice. Meditate more, not to force signs, but to strengthen your internal connection. Phase 2, emotional turbulence. When emotions begin to intensify, and they will have a protocol ready. Conscious breathing, physical movement, anything that regulates your nervous system. The worst thing you can do is try to think your way out of an emotional state. Emotions are energy in motion. They need to move through you, not be analyzed to death. A simple protocol. When you feel the emotional wave coming, stop everything. Place your hand on your heart, breathe deeply 5 times, and say, I allow this energy to move through me and transform into power. Don't try to change the emotion. Just change your relationship with it. From enemy to messenger, from obstacle to fuel. Phase 3, the final test. When external challenges appear, and they always appear just before breakthrough, you need a clear strategy. First, don't make any important decisions from a place of fear. If something urgent appears, give yourself 24 hours before reacting. In that time, ask, how would my future self handle this? I'll share a technique that transformed my own journey. I call it reverse evidence. Instead of looking for evidence that things aren't working, start collecting evidence that they are. Keep a journal where you note only progress, no matter how small. Slept better. Progress. Reacted differently to an old trigger. Progress. Felt a moment of peace. Progress. Your brain has an evolutionary negativity bias. It gives more weight to threats than opportunities. By consciously documenting progress, you're retraining this bias. Over time, your brain will naturally start looking for evidence of success instead of failure. Now, about stabilization. This is the step most people skip, and that's why they get stuck in cycles of almost transformation. After you go through the silence, the turbulence, the test, you need to anchor the new frequency. It's not enough to visit it. You need to live in it. How? Radical consistency. Not perfect consistency, that's impossible and unnecessary. But radical consistency means you return to the desired state whenever you notice you've left it. No judgment, no drama, just gentle but firm return. It's like training a papaya. Don't yell at it for peeing in the wrong place. You gently take it to the right place, repeatedly, until it becomes natural. There's a phenomenon I consistently observe right after the big leap. There's a period of strange normalcy. You expected fireworks, but instead, everything seems ordinary. This disorients many people. They think, I waited so long for this. But this normalcy is confirmation that the change was successful. The extraordinary has become your new ordinary. It's like when you move to a new house. At first, everything is exciting and strange. But quickly it becomes just your house. The same thing happens with consciousness leaps. What once seemed impossible now seems inevitable. The miracle becomes mundane. And this isn't disappointing, it's the ultimate proof that you've fundamentally changed. During this integration period, be extra gentle with yourself. Your system is recalibrating on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. You might feel unexplained fatigue, need more sleep, have strange appetites. Your body is literally rebuilding itself to match your new frequency. Honor this process. It's not laziness, it's metamorphosis. I want to address something no one talks about, but everyone experiences: the fear that even after all this, nothing changes externally. You went through the silence, navigated the turbulence, overcame the test, feel the internal change. But the external world still looks the same. The job is still the same. The relationship still has the same problems. The bank account hasn't magically changed. Here's the truth few want to hear. External change has a delay. Always has, always will. It's basic physics. There's inertia in matter. The denser the desired manifestation, the greater the delay. Changing a thought is instantaneous. Changing an emotion takes minutes or hours. Changing a behavioral pattern takes days or weeks. Changing external circumstances can take months. This is important, but delay doesn't mean nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, in what David Bohm called the implicate order, reorganization is at maximum speed. It's like when you plant a seed. For weeks, nothing visible happens, but underground, roots are spreading, the shell is cracking, the sprout is preparing. The day the sprout emerges isn't the day growth began, it's the day growth became visible. During this delay period, your only task is to maintain the frequency. Not perfectly, that's impossible, but consistently. Every time you doubt because you don't see external evidence, you're literally slowing down the manifestation process. It's like opening the oven door every 5 minutes to see if the cake is ready. You're interfering with the process. You're trying to accelerate. There's a powerful practice for this period. Live as if, not delusionally, denying current reality. But start taking small actions your future version would take. If your future version is healthy, start with an extra glass of water per day. If your future version is prosperous, organize your current finances carefully. Small actions aligned with your future identity dramatically accelerate external manifestation. I need to talk about a phenomenon called reality bleeding. During transition, you'll experience moments where the new reality bleeds through the old one. It might be a moment where you feel inexplicably wealthy while looking at an empty account, or deeply loved while being alone. These moments aren't illusions, they are previews of what's coming. When these moments happen, anchor them. Feel them completely, memorize the sensation. Let them permeate your cells. They're like seeds of the future planted in the present. The more you cultivate them, the more quickly they bloom into sustained experience. But there will also be moments of reverse bleeding when the old reality tries to reassert itself with full force. You might have emotional flashbacks. Old patterns might resurface with surprising intensity. It doesn't mean you've regressed. It's the last gasp of the old before it dies completely, like a rubber band stretched to its maximum before it snaps. The key during these moments is not to identify with them. Observe them as you would observe a storm through a window, intense, yes, but temporary and external to who you really are. You're not the storm, you're the consciousness observing the storm. This distinction changes everything. I want to talk about something practical. How to know if you're really changing or just deluding yourself. Real change has specific markers. First, your automatic reactions change. Situations that used to trigger anxiety now generate curiosity. People who used to irritate now seem irrelevant. You're not forcing different reactions, they arise naturally. Second, your preferences change. Things you loved might lose their appeal. Activities you never considered become attractive. Your taste might change, your clothing style, your favorite music. Don't force these changes, but when they arise naturally, honor them. They're confirmations that you're becoming someone new. Third, and most important, you stop needing to prove the change to others. At first, everyone wants to shout from the rooftops about their transformation. But real change comes with a quietness, a certainty that doesn't need external validation. You know you've changed like you know your own name without needing to convince anyone, including yourself. We've reached a crucial point: how to permanently live in the new state. Because visiting a different reality is spiritual tourism, living in it is mastery. And the difference between the two is what separates those who talk about transformation from those who embody it. First, abandon the idea of perfection. You'll fluctuate between states, that's being human. The goal isn't to never leave the desired state. It's to reduce the time it takes to return to it. At first, it might take days to return to center after a trigger. With practice, it becomes hours, then minutes, eventually seconds. Mastery isn't absence of fluctuation, it's speed of recovery. There's a subtle trap here, thinking that once the change is made, the work is done. Actually, that's when the real work begins. It's like getting citizenship in a new country. No, you need to learn to live there, build a life, put down roots. The initial change is just the entry visa. Integration is what makes you a true citizen of the new reality. I'll share the maintenance protocol that works consistently. Morning, 10 minutes of consciously inhabiting the new state before engaging with the world. This isn't passive meditation, it's active occupation of the desired frequency. Midday, 2 minutes of recalibration. Where am I vibrationally? Do I need to adjust? Evening, 10 minutes of specific gratitude for evidence of the new reality, however small. This simple protocol, done consistently, is more powerful than elaborate retreats done sporadically. It's daily consistency that rewires your brain, not peak moments. Remember, you're changing biological hardware. This requires repetition, not intensity. Now, about relationships during this transition. Some people will find your change strange. Others will try to pull you back to the old unit out of malice. But because your change threatens the stability of their reality, be gentle but firm. You don't need to explain or justify your transformation, just live it. Some relationships will naturally dissolve with drama, but like leaves falling in autumn. Others will unexpectedly deepen, and new ones will appear that resonate with your new frequency. Don't force any of these processes. Trust that the field is reorganizing your social reality to match your new state. There's a phenomenon I call next level syndrome. As soon as you stabilize in a new reality, you start perceiving the next possible level. This can be frustrating. You just arrived and you're already looking at the next peak. But this isn't a flaw, it's evolution. You weren't designed for stagnation, even at elevated levels. Each plateau is just base camp for the next ascent. The secret is appreciating where you are while remaining open to where you're going. It's being simultaneously satisfied and hungry, complete and expanding, arrived and traveling. This paradox is what keeps you in constant evolution without the anxiety of perpetual seeking. I need to talk about what happens when you truly embody the change. First, you stop talking about it so much. At first, everyone wants to share every insight, every experience. But when change really integrates, it becomes as natural as breathing. You don't walk around saying, "I'm breathing." Look, I'm breathing. You just breathe. Second, you develop immunity to external drama. It's not that you become insensitive, you still feel deeply. But external chaos no longer destabilizes your center. It's like having an internal gyroscope that keeps you balanced regardless of how the world spins around you. Third, and most beautiful, you become a walking coherence field. People around you start calming down without knowing why. Situations that were stuck begin to flow. Not because you're doing something, but because you're being something different. Your coherent field naturally organizes the fields around you. Finally, I want to talk about the greater purpose of all this. It's not just about getting what you want, that's part of it. It's about becoming who you really are beyond all conditioning, all programming, all fear. When you make this journey genuinely, you don't just change your personal reality. You add more coherence to the collective field, making it easier for others to make the same journey. Every person who goes through the silence and emerges on the other side makes the path clearer for those who follow. You're not just transforming yourself, you're participating in the collective transformation of human consciousness. Your personal leap is a contribution to the evolutionary leap of the species,